And for those joining the video, we're going to use either a tennis ball or a pair of rolled up socks would work too. So we're just going to practice a little coordination work with either a little tennis ball or a pair of socks. So if you can grab something like that, that'd be great. And then once you have that, we're going to make our way to our mats. And so I am going to start sitting. So you're going to have the option to begin lying down or sitting, whatever's more comfortable. What I've found is that there are people who prefer starting sitting. There's people who prefer starting lying down. And so every time we begin, you're going to have the option. You might always have one preference, or you might want to lie one day and sit one day. It's really just this beginning opportunity where we kind of ground ourselves and we cultivate mindful awareness. So we can do that sitting down. We can do that lying down. You could do it sitting in a chair. So choose your option. And if you're lying down, just take that moment to really feel the floor under your body, under your feet. If you're sitting, take a moment here to really feel your sitting bones. And then see if you can think about pressing down into your sitting bones, sending roots down from your sitting bones down into the ground. And let that grounding help support you in a nice upright posture. And you can have your eyes open or your eyes closed, but we'll take these first few moments here to bring our awareness to whatever we notice in this moment, in this environment that you're in. So one of the first things I notice is that it's kind of cool where I am. And you can notice a sense of feeling the air, feeling your clothing on your skin. You might notice a sound. I just heard a bird call outside my door there. There might be something you can smell where you are. So take in the sensory experience of where you are in the present moment. And then begin to invite your awareness inward to how you're feeling in your body. So maybe there's areas of your body that are feeling tight or restricted. Maybe your body's feeling really relaxed and comfortable this morning. Just notice like your physical reality this morning. Take a moment to soften the roof of your mouth. So feel that soft palate on the upper part of your mouth, kind of softening and broadening, imagining it's kind of flattening out towards the molars, towards the back of your head. And just see if that sensation of softening and broadening has any particular, feeling to you. And then let's dive into what it feels like to breathe. So really focusing our awareness now on the feeling of the in-breath and the feeling of the out-breath. Beginning to deepen and lengthen both of those. When we focus on the breath, we really can become aware of a lot of movement as the ribs expand, as the lungs expand, and as they contract. You may notice the movement of your diaphragm. When your breath goes in, your diaphragm lowers down. So it feels like that breath moves into the belly. And as the breath flows out, the diaphragm releases. And there's movement again in the belly. So just really immerse yourself in the feeling of your breath for maybe 2 more rounds of deep breath. Allow your next exhalation to empty all the way out. And then after that release of breath, just transition to a more natural breath rhythm. And we'll just take a few moments to see if we can continue to place our focus on our breath, even when we're breathing more naturally. So trying not to let the mind wander from focusing on our breathing. And if your mind does wander away, just bring it back to focusing on your breathing. So this is our practice of focused awareness, mindful awareness. So you can release your focus from your breath. Take a moment to just check in with how you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally this morning. And then with that information, let that guide you into an awareness of what you're needing today. And when we have that understanding of how we're doing and what we're needing, it can help us to perhaps set an intention for what we might want to focus on for this next hour or for the rest of the day. What would benefit you to kind of invite in more into your day today? Like for me, it's often patience. It's that quality that tends to be elusive. And what is it that, but it changes from day to day. What is the thing that maybe if you focused on it a bit more, it might help you in your day? So if there is some quality, maybe invite that in, breathe it in. Great. Okay. So to start our practice today, we're going to do something a little different. It's going to you're going to need just a little more room perhaps than you normally do. You're just, you have your mat space and hopefully you have a little room on either side of your mat. We're just going to wake up the body with a little bit of rolling. So I want you to lie down if you're not already. And you can just start with a little knee hug and a little sway. So we often start by swaying side to side to kind of massage the low back and kind of work the tissues of the low back. We're just going to kind of expand that a little bit. So can you roll over towards your device? And we're going to be rolling side to side. So I want you to kind of keep your arms kind of close to your chest. And then I want you to roll all the way over to the other side. So we're just gonna kind of roll side to side. So you're rolling to one side, and hopefully, it's not too hard where you are. You could put a blanket under you if this is, or if you're more bony person. Some of us have a little more padding. So we're just gonna roll side to side. And we're just gonna do this a few more times. But it can be kind of nice to kind of work the tissues in the whole back, in the upper arm, in this way. So maybe a couple more of these. Just kind of waking up the tissue in the back of the body. All right. Can you roll and come all the way over onto all fours? And then come back down and roll, and then come all the way up onto all fours. We're just gonna do that one more time. We're just gonna come down and roll and come up onto all fours. And then last time, we're gonna roll down all the way over and come up onto all fours. Great. All right, we're done with that. We're gonna roll back down and come back to lying on our back. And maybe that kind of woke you up a little bit or got your blood flowing a bit more. Maybe you like that, maybe not. But it's just kind of fun to switch things up sometimes. All right, let's take our legs up in the air, releasing our arms at our side, and we're just going to alternate flexing and pointing. So really push your heel up and pull your toes down. And just as you stretch that heel up, just feel a little stretch in the whole back of the leg. Yeah, great. All right, let's circle the feet around. Just kind of waking up the ankles. You can wiggle your toes a little bit and then circle the other way. Great. All right. So we're going to bend the knees and let's just have our arms out to our side like a T. We're going to take the knees over to one side, maybe about halfway or so, and then just bring them back to center. And then take them over to the other side and then bring them back to center. So the shoulders stay on the floor as the knees go over to one side and then come back up. Knees go over to the other side and then come back up. So you may notice as your knees go over to the side that the opposite side waist engages. These oblique muscles kick in to support the movement of the legs. And so we're just going side to side with the legs. So the next time your knees go over to one side, can you extend your legs out? And then we'll bend the knees and come back. Knees go over to the other side, extend the legs out, and then bring them back. So again, you don't have to do the leg extension. You could just keep going knees side to side, or you might try extending the legs. All right, come to center. So you could continue with bent knees, or you could try legs straight, taking the legs over to one side and coming back up, taking the legs over to the other side and coming back up. So just lengthening the lever is gonna create a little more work for those oblique muscles. And so one more time to each side. And this whole time you're just breathing, you're not holding your breath. So then when the legs come center next time, could you reverse curl and then lower back down? So you're just gonna curl the hips up and lower back down. Roll the hips up a little bit and then release them down. So you're just kind of firing up the low belly here and then roll them up. Now, as we roll down, let's start to take the legs a little bit away. And you don't have to go far so you feel that low belly firing. And then bring them back up, curl up, and then lower, take the legs away. So some people might take the legs further away. Some people might not want to take them as far away. You want to feel the low belly supporting that extension of the legs. And we want to try not to let the low back arch too much so that the strain would then go into the low back rather than the support of the deep abdominals. So you decide how far you extend the legs out, you bring the legs up and you do a reverse curl. We'll do a few more of these, waking up that low belly. Legs extend. And then we curl up, you're going at your own pace. You're determining how far you want to take your legs out. And then the next time you do that reverse curl, then let's go ahead and bend the knees and release the feet to the floor. We'll lift our heads up and clasp our hands beneath our head, letting the weight of the head rest into the hands. Let's take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to draw the low ribs down into the belly to curl up head, neck, and shoulders. See how far you can come up and then release back down and breathe. Exhale, knit your ribs and curl up, and then reach your arms out kind of above your knees, and then go back down and breathe. We're going to exhale and curl up and reach maybe a little higher, more kind of halfway between your knees and the ceiling, and then lower back down. And this time we're going to curl up and reach the arms more straight up, knitting the ribs and then lowering back down. All right, this time I'd like you to curl up, knit your ribs, and then bring your knees in. And let's see if we can touch elbows to knees. Try not to pull on your head too much though, so maybe you don't want to go all the way. And then lower your toes to the floor. So we're going to curl up. It's a little bit of a reverse curl, elbow to knee, and then tap your toes as you go back. So curl up and then tap. Curl up so we can exhale as we come up and inhale as we go back. We'll do maybe 4 more of these. Curling up and tapping back. And 3 more. And tapping back. And 2 more. And tapping back. Last one here. Curl up. This time release your feet. Release your head. Take a moment here. Take a breath. Check in. What are you breathing in this morning? What are you focusing on? All right, let's roll to the side and make our way around to all fours. Always knowing you can cushion your knees here if that would be nice for your knees. Let's square up and get the spine nice and long. And let's start with a breath in. And as we exhale, we'll drop the tailbone down, round through the spine, pushing into the hands. We'll drop our heads down. And then we'll come to a long flat back. Let's lift the tail and arch the back and draw the heart forward, extending the spine. And just flow between those 2 movements a couple more times at your own pace, flexing the spine and extending the spine. Cat, cow. You can move a little front or back. You can move a little side to side if you like. Just kind of make this movement a way for you to kind of wake up your spine. Find movement that feels good. And then eventually transition back to your flat back, and we'll go ahead and sit back on our heels and drop into child's pose. So your forehead might come to the floor. It might rest on your bent arms. Just take a breath into your back and let that breath empty all the way out. Maybe do that again. Then lift your head up and reach your arms forward. So you're still kind of sitting back on your heels, your arms are forward. Take one hand and reach it way up towards the middle front of your mat, stretching that arm way forward. And if it's your right hand, take your hips to the right. If it's your left hand, take your hips to the left. And just stretch them out to the side and then pull the hips back towards that back corner of your mat. Maybe look under that arm and get a big stretch in that side and breathe into that side. And let that breath go. Slide that arm back, slide the other arm towards the front middle of your mat. Take that same hip over to the side and back. Maybe look under that arm, big stretch into that side, big breath. In and out. Great. All right, let's separate our arms and we'll transition to downward facing dog here. So make your way up to downward facing dog. Feel your hands pressing into the floor. Feel your fingers, your knuckles, your thumbs. As you start to draw the hips up and back, your knees can stay a little soft and bent. Your heels can be lifted. Create some space between your shoulder blades. Take a deep breath in and out. Let's go ahead and pedal one heel down and then paddle the other heel down and do that again. Get those heels to go as straight back as possible rather than angling in. And then bend both your knees a little bit. Draw your hips up and back. One more deep breath in and out. And then walk your hands back towards your feet, lowering your heels down, ending up folded over bent knees here. Let's take a breath into the back. Let the breath empty. And then draw the belly in. We're going to roll ourselves up. Just unfurl your spine. Let it stack vertebra onto vertebra. Take your time. Really plant your feet as you begin to stand upright. And from that rooting down of the feet, take the arms out. Inhale and reach up. Lengthen and lift. And then let the arms release down. Great. All right. So facing your device now, I want you to just kind of start to, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. We're going to just kind of bend the knees a little bit. Your feet are flat, and we're going to swing the arms a little bit. So we're just kind of waking up the legs here and swinging the arms. All right. And then we're going to bring the arms kind of in, because we're going to turn it into a little springier thing. So you're going to lift your heels up a little bit. So we're doing some more dynamic movement this morning, just kind of changing up how we begin our practice. So we're lifting the heels and we're just kind of bouncing a little bit. We're just getting a little blood flow. And if you wanted to, you could even hop a little bit, or you can just keep lifting your heels. So you're just going to feel the blood kind of moving into your lower legs, into your calf and ankles, and just a little longer here. You might be just bouncing or not, lifting, whatever. Okay, great. All right. Let's stand with our feet beneath us, and we're just going to do big arm circles. So just take your arms and make big circles with your arms. And get a nice stretch across the muscles of the chest and the upper arm. And then big circles the other way. Yeah. Just waking up the shoulders here. Great. So we can continue to do these arm circles with both feet on the floor. Or how about trying balancing on one leg and circling your arms around? And your foot might have to come down from time to time, and that's fine. And then just try and balance again. Let's circle the arms the other way. Yeah. We're waking up the shoulders, working on balance. Let's put that foot down and try it on the other leg. Circle your arms around. Some of us can balance much better on one leg than the other, but it's good to practice on both legs, obviously. Let's go the other way with the arms. Yeah. Balance is so important. And of course, we can do this kind of thing many times throughout the day, especially if we are concerned about our balance. We should just practice balancing. All right. Here's where we're going to pick up either a pair of socks or a tennis ball. And I want you to just start tossing it and catching it, because this is going to be good for our coordination, our ability to just throw and catch. So we're going to throw and catch for a while, and probably we're all going to drop the ball at some point, and that's fine. All right, let's do that in the other hand, throw and catch. So just coordination here. Yeah. Now we're going to start, can you toss it from one hand to the other? And you might just want to do a nice close toss and catch. You can also, as you catch it, let the arm swing down, catch it, the arm swings down, catch it, the arm swings down. And if you can do a little toss and catch, you can try a little higher toss and catch. And if you drop the ball, no big deal. Toss and catch, toss and catch. So now to make this more challenging, maybe you find this plenty challenging, could we balance on one leg? And I'm not necessarily a good model of this, but could we work on balance and coordination? Toss and catch, toss and catch, toss and catch. Maybe we try it on the other leg. We're almost done with this. I'm just kind of playing around with some new things with you this morning. So I hope you're enjoying trying some new things. Toss and catch a couple more times. Good job. Great. All right. Well, thanks. I enjoyed trying some new stuff with you guys this morning. So now we're going to do some more familiar sort of classical yoga type of movement. Let's come to the front of our mat. We'll stand rooted and tall. We'll reach the arms out and up as we breathe in. And we'll exhale and swan dive forward. Let's bring hands to shins and inhale and lengthen through the crown of the head. And exhale and fold over. And then we'll bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Ground down through your hands, lengthen your spine as your hips draw back. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lower to straight arm plank. Let's hold plank here for a few moments, getting really grounded through the hands, strong in the arms, long from heel to crown. So as we're here, sometimes the hips sink. Can you really activate your abdominals and really support your pelvis? It might mean lifting the hips a centimeter higher to get that feeling of support. And can you keep the hips from sinking if you were to bend your elbows just a bit, pointing back rather than out? If this gets to be too much, just bring your knees to the floor. Take another breath. And then let's straighten the arms and lift up and back to down dog. We'll take a breath here. And again, exhale and lower to that strong straight arm plank. Let's try a little bend in the elbows, or maybe a little deeper bend in the elbows. We'll take one more breath. And then knees can come down. We're going to lower onto belly. As we come onto belly, let's let our chest sink down into the floor as the heels of the hands slide back. Tops of the feet, toes reaching back, crown of the head extending forward. Let's slide the shoulder blades a little bit up, slide them a little bit down, and then let them land right in their sweet spot. And from right between the shoulder blades, start to lift the chest up and then pull the heart forward as you press the heels of the hands back. Kind of like a turtle, kind of pulling its head forward out of its shell, and then lower back down. Let's do that again. Inhale and lift the chest up, pull the heart forward, and then lift your hands a little bit off the floor. Lift your elbows up and hug your elbows in. Wake up the upper back here, and then release the hands, release the chest. One more time. Let's inhale up to baby cobra. And we could stay here, or if we like, we could come up a bit more, pulling that heart forward, lengthening through the spine, and then lowering back down. Great. Let's push back up to knees, curl the toes under and lift the knees, and lift up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Let's look a little forward, walk our feet up towards our hands. We'll plant our feet beneath us. And then let's sweep our arms out, inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down at our sides. All right, again, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Lower to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale, halfway down, or just bending your elbows. Take another breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down, prone mountain. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. Make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Look a little forward, walk your feet up towards your hands, plant your feet beneath you. And then let's sweep our arms out, inhale and rise up, reach up. Exhale, arms down at your side. One more time. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. Lower to straight arm plank. Take another breath. Lower a little bit, elbows bending. Take another breath and lower all the way down. Nice work. Let's bring our forearms underneath us now. Elbows right beneath the shoulders. We'll slice down to lift the chest. We'll curl the toes under. And let's lift our hips up. So we could be on a kneeling forearm plank, or we could lift the knees up and hold a full forearm plank. Really pushing the forearms into the floor to create strength across the upper back and feeling that contraction in the belly to support the low back, holding those hips up. If you're feeling strain in your low back, maybe lift your hips a little higher. If you need a little more support, place your knees back down. And you might alternate one knee down at a time. You might try tapping a toe to the side if you want a deeper challenge. So we're just going to hold for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good work. Lower to knees, lower all the way down. Let's let the elbows go wide. Let the head rest on the hands. Let everything relax for a moment as we breathe in and out. Good. All right, let's press the front of the hips down into the floor and then lift the legs up. You can point your toes here. Reach back through your toes. Could you lift one leg higher than the other? And then lower that leg. Lift the other leg higher than the other. And then lower that leg. Lift both legs up now. Really feel length and feel the strength in the back of the thigh into the glute. Then relax your legs down. Let's bring our arms to our side, palms up, fingertips reaching back. We're going to press the hips down to lift the legs again. We'll reach back through the fingertips and pull the heart forward and inhale and lift the chest. Nice locust pose here. Get as long as you can and then lift the legs and lift the chest a bit more and take one more breath here. Nice work. And lower down. Great. Let's bring hands next to chest and push all the way back to child's pose. Sitting all the way back on the heels, rounding the spine, taking a breath into the back, letting it go. Checking in with our focus, our intention this morning for one more breath. All right, let's lift our heads up and reach our arms way out in front. Again, make our way to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. All right, let's lift the left leg up in the air now. Stretch it up nice and high. And then we're gonna bend that knee. Can you pull that knee up and in and bring it towards that same elbow? We're gonna lift the leg up and back, breathe in, and then bend the knee, pull that knee up towards the same elbow. One more time. Inhale that leg up and back. Pull that knee up and in, and then this time, can we step that foot out and through to lunge? Or you can drop to the knee and step the foot out, but we'll get into our low lunge here. Feet as wide as hips, and then we can bring our hands to the front knee to help us rise up. Straighten the front leg, bring your hands to hips, square your hips to that short line of your mat. Let's bend the front knee forward, push down to straighten. Bend the front knee. Really feel the foot on the floor. Push down to straighten that front leg. One more time. Bend the front knee. Push down to straighten. This time we're going to bend the front knee and keep it bent. Think about the energy of the knee and shin going forward and the energy of that same sitting bone pulling back. So there's lots of dynamic strength in that front leg. Then lower your arms. We're going to sweep the arms forward and up. Lifting up, shoulders, ribs, lengthening, reaching up. So let's take a breath here. Then as we exhale, we'll bring the arms forward. And then the left arm, we're going to sweep it down and behind, opening into a twist. We'll take a breath here. And then again, let's sweep that arm down. Exhale. We're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, sweep forward, down and back. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep down. One more time, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, sweep forward, down and back. Inhale here. And then exhale down. Let's face the front of our mat, bring our hands to the floor, and step back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. We're going to go right to the next side. So we're going to take the right leg up in the air, breathing in. We'll bend that knee. Let's bring that knee up towards that same elbow. And then inhale that leg up and back. Exhale, bend the knee, draw it in towards that same elbow. Inhale that leg up and back. This time, bring that knee up and in and look forward and step that foot through to lunge. Or help it up, or however you need to do to get to this low lunge here. Feet as wide as hips, not in a balance beam. And then you can make your way up till that front leg is straight. Hands on hips, let's turn our hips square to the front of the mat so that back heel is pointing straight back. And then we're going to bend the front knee and then push down with the front foot to straighten that front leg. We're going to bend the front knee, push down to straighten. A couple more. Bend the front knee, push down to straighten. This time we'll bend the front knee. We're going to keep the knee bent. Let's lower the arms. We're going to sweep them forward and up. Big breath here. And then arms can come forward. Take the right arm, sweep it back and behind. Open into a twist. Take a breath. Sweep that arm down and forward, exhaling. And then inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms forward, sweep down and behind. Inhale in your twist. Exhale, sweep down. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward, down and behind. Inhale here. And then let the arms come down. We're going to lean forward, bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Let's breathe in and out here. And you can either take a break on your knees or flow one more time. Straight arm plank, little bend in the elbows, lowering all the way down, prone mountain. Inhaling up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhaling back down. We'll make our way up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Let's walk our hands back towards our feet again this time and lower the heels, end up folded over bent knees. And from here, I want us to bend our knees and sit back. We'll sweep the arms forward so we're sitting in our low chair. Hips are low, arms are forward, spine is long. The arms can stay forward or we might bring them up by our ears. We'll take a breath in and out here. And then let's push into the feet and legs to inhale and rise up, reach up. And we'll exhale, arms down. Great. Okay. We are going to come into a wide stance. We're going to turn the back foot in, the right foot in, turn the left foot out. And let's bend and straighten the front knee. So we have this back foot turned in, this back hip turned in. We have this knee bending over the front foot. So we're getting some nice work into the back hip. If we keep the outer foot planted, we'll get some nice work into the back ankle. And then the next time the front knee is bent, let's pause there. So right now we have our shoulders over our hips. Let's, from right down here, tip the hips over. And we'll bring this bottom arm on the bottom leg. We'll take the other arm forward and let's sweep it overhead. Thumb up, pinky down. So that arm kind of rolls down. We're going to roll the belly and chest underneath towards our device. So we're reaching long with that top arm, getting a nice lengthening from the outer back foot all the way out through the fingertips. Now this bottom arm is providing some support. How would it feel to lift this bottom arm off the bottom leg? If that worked, you can stay there. You could go back down, or we could take that bottom arm and sweep it also overhead. So we're supporting this more internally here. Let's breathe in and out. And then we're going to keep the lower body as it is and just bring the arms up. Great. Take a breath here, reaching up. And then exhale and drop your arms out wide. Proud warrior here, turning our gaze out over this front arm. Let's take a breath here. With our exhale, we're going to drop the back hand on the back leg. Let's turn that front palm up and inhale that arm up. Nice reverse warrior. Stretch up here as you breathe. And then let that arm come down. Great. We're going to straighten the front leg. Let's turn the feet forward. And then we'll turn this back foot in. Turn the front foot out. Hands can go to hips. Now let's just bend and straighten the front knee a few times. Finding enough width between the front and the back foot so you feel some stretch maybe along the inner line of the front leg. You feel the groundedness of the back foot staying down even as the hip moves away. And then the next time the knee is bent, pause here. Let's go ahead and tip the hips over and let this bottom arm rest on the bottom leg. The other arm will bring it forward and let's sweep it overhead. Thumb up, pinky down. We're going to roll the belly and chest under that arm towards your device. Reach long, lengthen the outer leg, that whole side, top side. And then you could stay here, or this bottom arm, can you lift it up? Could you sweep it overhead as well? Let's breathe in and out here. And then legs stay the same. We're just going to straighten the upper body up. We'll take a breath here. And then drop the arms down into proud warrior. Look out over that front arm. Take a breath here. Expand and radiate out from your center. From shoulder to shoulder, from shoulder blade to shoulder blade. Take a breath. Exhale the back hand on the back leg. Turn the front palm up. Inhale that arm up towards the sky. Lengthen here. And then let that arm come down. Great. Straighten that front leg. Let's turn both feet forward. Feet are parallel now. We're going to root down, straighten up. Let's come into a little bit of a back bend so the hips can come forward, the heart lifts up. You can draw your elbows towards each other a bit here, taking a breath. And then we'll come upright. We'll start to hinge forward to flat back. As you come forward, you can start to soften your knees. We're going to come all the way over now. We're going to fold over so knees can be soft here as the head starts to drop down. You could be pressing onto your shins. You could grab your ankles. You could bring your hands to the floor, whatever feels good. We could be here passively, soft bent knees, head dropping down. You could make this a deeper stretch, pressing into the feet, lifting the sitting bones up, drawing the head in, your choice. Take a breath in and out here. And then bring your hands to hips. Press into your feet and legs. Inhale and come halfway up. Pause here. And then root down to inhale and come all the way up. Great. You can heel and toe your feet in. You could just jump your feet together. We're going to come down to the floor now. And as we come down, you're welcome to sit up on a blanket or a block. We're going to put our feet together. We're going to come into bound angle. So feet are together, your heels might be in close, they might be further away. And if you feel like when you're sitting in this way that you're kind of rolled back and reaching forward, you probably would benefit from sitting up on something. And another thing that can be helpful is to bring your hands down here rather than arms forward, which some of us are going to drop back if we do that. Because ideally we want to be as upright as possible. So that also might mean having your feet a little further away from you. So maybe you're here and maybe you're here, either's fine. Let's press our feet together. Actively push your feet into each other. And kind of notice how that fires up these inner thigh muscles a bit. And then release that pressing together action. Now actively try to push your knees away from each other, kind of push them apart. And you might feel how your outer legs are working, your hips, your outer thighs. Take a breath. And then let that action fall away. And now do those two things together. Push your feet together and at the same time push your knees apart. So a lot of work here. Pushing feet in, pushing knees apart. Let's breathe in and out. And then let go of that work. Let's let the knees come in a bit and straighten the legs out. Maybe shake them out a little bit. Let's take our legs into a straddle. Again, some of us, when we do this, it's kind of challenging and we're kind of leaned back. So again, you might benefit from sitting up on a blanket or something. Maybe with your hands behind, you can bring yourself to sitting up more straight. And for a lot of us, that's going to be plenty of a stretch, just trying to sit up straight. Some of us who have hips that allow this type of movement are able to hinge forward. So maybe you're working to sitting up straight. Maybe if you can be up straight easily, readily, you start to hinge forward. So we're moving from the hip, we're not bending at the waist. So just kind of see where you can go. Could you press your heels down as you do this? So it becomes a little more active stretch by creating some work in the legs, pressing the heels down. Yeah, so just see where you can go and take a breath. And then come back up. Let's slide one hand down one leg, take the other arm, reach up and over. Breathe in and out here. We'll come back up. We'll bring that hand down. We'll just go to the other side. Slide down, stretch up and over. If you're a person that finds the straddle position challenging and this isn't comfortable, feel free to not do the leaning to the side. Our hips are all quite different, so honor your body. And then let's bring our legs in. So I want you to bring your hands behind you and have your feet a little wider than your hips. We're going to roll to one side of the feet and let the knees kind of drop down. Come back up, roll to the other sides of the feet, and then come back up. All right, let's roll all the way over. Take the hand from behind off the floor. Bring your knees to the floor. Take that arm from behind and just sweep it all the way around till you're reaching towards the wall behind you. Take a breath and then unwind that. Start to bring that hand back. Start to bring your knees up. Let them go around to the other side. Take the arm off from behind. Reach back and around all the way back to the wall behind you and take a breath. And then unwind. Let that hand reach behind. Bring your knees up. Let them drop to the other side. So now we have both knees on the floor. We're going to continue. I'm going to move so you can see me better. We're going to continue to spiral around until you place your hands on either side of that front knee. And then can you lower your chest down? Maybe you can come onto your forearms. So the weight of you is over this front bent knee. This back leg can be anywhere you like it. Some people like to straighten this leg. It can be anywhere that's comfortable. But the weight is kind of over the front thigh, the front knee. Maybe your head can come to the floor. But we're just getting a nice stretch into that front hip here. We'll take a breath or two in and out here. Let your breath empty. Maybe breathe in that quality that you're focusing on this morning. After your next breath has emptied all the way out, you can start to transition your way back up, bringing hands to the floor and pushing yourself up. And then we're going to start to lean back and bring the knees up. We're just going to go around to the other side. So the knees come all the way down, and then you come around and you orient over that front knee, one hand on one side, Other hand on the other side. Lower your chest down. Maybe you're here on your hands, maybe you're here on your forearms, maybe your head comes down. If you had a block nearby, your head might be able to rest on a block. But your weight is over that front knee, so you're feeling a stretch in that same hip. Now we're just going to take a few deep breaths in and out here. One more round of breath. And then you can bring your hands to the floor and push yourself up. All right, you can start to lean back and bring those knees up. And then we'll just straighten the legs out. And we're gonna start to transition to lying down. So let's go ahead and get warm and comfortable. So if you want to put on a layer or put on some socks or, do something to be more comfortable, go ahead and access those things. If you like to lie back with something under your head, go ahead and find something to place under your head. And before we transition to our Shavasana, let's just give the knees a hug. And with the knees drawn in, keep your knees in, but drop your arms out. And let's just let the knees drop all the way over to one side. So we're going to have one knee stacked upon the other. We're going to reach back with the arm behind. We're just going to take a deep breath in and out here. We'll bring one knee up and then the other knee. Try to keep your knees close to your body and let both knees drop all the way over to the other side now. One knee stacking upon the other. That arm reaches back behind. We're looking up at the ceiling, or you could look back at that arm behind you and just take one big, huge, deep breath in and out here. Great. All right. We're going to bring our knees back to center, and if there's any other movement you're craving, go ahead and take that movement. And then when you feel ready, start to transition to just straightening your legs. We'll take these final few minutes here to experience what it feels like to be in our natural state. Modern life has many of us living a life where tension is our natural state. Seems like our natural state, but of course that's not the case. We need to activate to engage with our lives a lot of times, but our natural state is one of ease and relaxation. So we just activated all these muscles in our yoga practice. They're primed for relaxation. And we make this time and space to let them settle into their relaxed state. And what we find is a relaxed body contributes to a relaxed mind. When our mind is really busy and stressed and in overdrive, if we can get the body to relax, then that sends a signal to the mind that it can do the same. So here's our opportunity. The legs fall into the floor, relaxing. The weight of the hips settles into the floor and the gut releases. The weight of the upper back, shoulders, and arms rests back. The palms, the chest, softening and opening. The weight of the head releases back, and we allow all the facial muscles to soften and smooth and release. And we rest here. Perhaps you notice this relaxed state has a quality of innocence or a childlike quality, that carefree feeling of just being relaxed with nothing that we have to do. Sometimes it's a doorway to connecting with that inner spark that animates us, that light that shines within us, that spark that we came into the world with, that was there when we were a baby, and that is still within us. Connecting with that light, that spark, that energy that is us. And recognizing that that spark is in each of us. That oneness that we share. So you might choose to continue lying back for a while, and that's fine. If you're ready to transition, you might open your eyes. You can begin to bring your feet to the floor. We can gently roll to our sides. Just take a moment there to transition, supporting our heads. And when we feel ready, we can make our way up to sitting. Take a final moment or two just to close out our practice with some reflection or gratitude or prayer. Thank you all for being here this morning. Peace.